Suter, thank you so much. And joining us now are two people who managed to flee Ukraine, Inna and her 8-year-old son, Andrew, along with Andrew Mencinsky, who's from the Ukrainian Council of New South Wales. Thank you all so much for being with us. Inna, I cannot imagine what you have been through. How did you manage to get to Sydney, and talk us through that decision?
Yes, I have always loved Australia, but I definitely didn't want to come here as refugee with one suitcase and no place to live, no right to work, and no ability to send my son to school. It was very difficult, especially to separate son from a loving father. It took us about 72 hours to cross the border. There were a lot of women with children who wanted to escape Ukraine.
And I mean, your husband drove you to the border, is still there, had to leave you, and I can't imagine how heartbreaking that moment was. Andrew is only 8 years old. How difficult has it been for him to go through something as traumatic as this?
Yeah, my husband stayed in Ukraine. We was a very friendly family and have always spent time together. It's very difficult psychologically to separate son with beloved father, beloved sister, and with his friends.
I can't imagine how it is for you to not have Andrew's dad here and your daughter as well. Andrew, you're 8 and you're here in Australia. How do you feel about being in Australia?
Yes, I have, and I want the war to end soon.
It's his dreams, only one dreams, the war to end soon.
That you couldn't hear more powerful, potent words anywhere on the planet than from an 8-year-old saying, I want the war to end soon. And Andrew, I mean, that is exactly what is being thought around the world by so many people as well. What is your view about what the world needs to know here? What more needs to be done? What breaks my heart about this particular situation is in Australia, while we are taking on refugees from the war, is adequate support being offered to the likes of Inna and her beautiful son when they arrive?
The current group of displaced people have arrived here under what's called a 600 visa. This is a tourist visa and was the most rapid way of getting people out of harm's way, which was the initial focus. There was a lot of these people have come from cities that are currently undergoing persistent shelling and bombing by Russian air forces. So now that we have them in the country, they are the lucky ones. There are millions of people still in Ukraine, 2 million internally displaced, 3 million that have left the country. The next stage now is assessing what the future holds for displaced people here. The situation is obviously changing rapidly. We're not sure if these people will be returning to Ukraine to join husbands and fathers, whether husbands and fathers will be joining them here. We are working very productively with the Australian government, and we actually are expecting an announcement at 10 a.m. today from Alex Hawke as to the next steps to provide assistance for the displaced people.
So where are Inna and Andrew living? And I know that you've been part of that.
Inna and Andrew are staying with a friend who managed to provide them emergency accommodation upon their arrival here. We've had over 500 offers from Australians to put up displaced people. So
I think you'll have a lot more after this morning.
And we need them. Over 4,000 visas have been approved, and with the unfolding humanitarian crisis in Ukraine, I dare say there'll be a lot more.
And these, I'm sorry to speak over you, and these beautiful families who have come here, they need to be able to work, and for Andrew to be able to go to to school or receive an education too as well. I think those are important facets.
I mean, it's outrageous that they can't.
But that's what we're expecting. The announcement at 10 a.m. today will provide more clarity on that. This is something that the government has, as I've said, is working with us productively on, and we do expect an announcement today that will basically provide clarity for these people.
You know, have you been able to speak to your husband?
Yes.
Those conversations, I can't imagine how difficult they are. How is he? How are you?
Very difficult. Psychologically, it's very difficult.
Ina, you're so brave. Just look at you and as a mother and think how difficult it must have been for you to make that big journey and to leave your...
But we with son is safe. It's
keep
very
him
important
safe.
to us and important to my husband.
And your daughter has been able to go to another country. She's older, she's in her 20s.
Yes, she's 20 and now she is in Austria.
With her boyfriend.
Yeah, with her boyfriend.
So she's safe.
Yeah, she's safe. Yeah,
Do you know how much Australia welcomes you with open arms?
yeah. Thank you.
And we very much hope things end in that country very quickly, and you can be reunited with your family. That idea, that concept of having to sign the rights of her beautiful son Andrew over at the border is unknowable. Is unknowable to us.
And there's millions of other people that are in a situation,
Yes.
Andrew.
And if Australians wish to help, we would direct them to the Ukrainian Council of New South Wales website, which is UCNSW, Ukrainian Council of New South Wales.org. There are links that will enable people to volunteer their services, open their homes, provide donations to the Ukraine Crisis Appeal. Over 6,500 Australians, and these are Australians, not just Ukrainians, that have donated almost $2 million to the Ukraine Crisis Appeal, which goes directly towards the victims of the Russian invasion.
Well, we cannot say to you all thank you enough for the courage it's taken to come and sit here and share your story. Ina, Andrew, you are magnificent humans, and we wish you all the very best.
He's a brave little Cossack, this one.
Yeah.
He really is.
Thank you for being here. We really appreciate you telling us about it.
Thank you very much for inviting us.
Right, well, it's a big day in Australia today. Coming up this morning,